What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. I'm having a pretty good day. Busy day, but we get to top it off with you guys here for this installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. And I think it's time to talk to the person who's the Inside BJJ portion of the Bullpen, our good friend, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
Good. I just want to stretch a little bit.
It's good to be here. Just got to get loosened up before we get going today. A lot of odd things in the week of jiu-jitsu. No huge major events, but just some oddities that I can't wait to kick around with you. It's good to see you, man. It's great to be here. Take a deep breath. Let's do this, Raf.
Fair enough. Let's move to the board and see what we have on this week. That's a solo board, and that is not a complete one. Here's the real one. Tim, let me ask you this. When you make a graphic, how excited are you that you get to make a Goodfellas graphic?
I was so tickled on the inside when I kept looking at this news about Craig Jones, and I thought, pay me, and then I thought, fuck you, pay me, and I'm like, Goodfellas, yes. Yeah, absolutely, man.
So nothing quite like the Ted Cruz trying to painfully recreate quotes from Goodfellas that aren't actually in the movie. We actually have something here that ties in quite nicely, which is that Craig Jones later this week did say, guess what? I'm not affiliated with who you think I'm affiliated with. Here with more on that, Tim Freeman, what exactly is going on in the world of commerce for Craig Jones?
Oh, let me see if I got my Craig Jones shades here. Oh, I do. I'm going to put these bad boys on, then give you the update. This is got my Craigs on. Yeah, so essentially what happened is Craig had some kind of endorsement deal with Oscar and Frank, which is a eyewear. They potentially make other things. I don't know. Pretty popular eyewear company out of Australia. Craig signed up with those guys, and apparently they have been using his image and his likeness in their meta ads, and he had asked them not to do that. It's probably not part of the contract. I have no clue. He didn't really say that, but he said it's gonna get ugly, guys. Here's the thing that I gotta figure out. Maybe you could help me with this, Rap. If Craig Jones goes to war with somebody in jiu-jitsu, easy. He just goes Craig Jones and does wild shit, and everybody goes Craig. But like, you have to get into litigation with an actual company. Like, what's Craig going to do? You can't show up to court in camos. You can't snort a line off of the court reporter's typewriter before you go make your statement. Like, how is that going to play out if this actually turns into a legal issue?
Great question, but it will push the boundaries of how many times you can call somebody gay in court.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to refer back to I Know You Are, But What Am I? Via 1993 people.
Yeah.
Here's what I kind of want to take away from this, Tim, which is, what is a learning lesson here? Because now that he's getting into litigation with companies that are outside of the realm of jiu-jitsu, what are we supposed to do? Because if anybody really gets sued in jiu-jitsu, they're poor. Craig looks like he can actually kind of take these guys to court, but is it wise?
I don't think it's wise. I mean, Craig, for being like cool guy Craig, he sure is a cantankerous Aussie, if I might say so myself. Like, he's got a lot of street beefs with people, and maybe he's just standing up for himself. Maybe he's setting boundaries and he's being assertive. I don't know, but like, how deep are Craig's pockets? Is he going to get like a mystery donor to fund his lawsuit? Is he going to show up in court and have a mystery witness that comes up to take the stand? He's going to have a mystery lawyer. Like, I'm not sure what Craig's play here actually is, but if I had to if I had to bet on it, if I was just, man, I'm going to make a straight up bet as to what I think Craig is going to do, I would think that Craig is just trying to leverage social media, and he's trying to use his audience to put pressure on the company and kind of just like basically take him to the people's court of the public and, run with that. I think that's probably his play. If push comes to shove, I can't imagine he files an actual lawsuit.
Can I point this out? And this has nothing to do with Craig at this point. This version of you looks like you sidelining your side gig, if you would, of going to play a Ray Charles cover band. This is you as a blues brother, but modern age. Like, even you doing some Stevie Wonder head nods right there. It does make me slightly concerned, but it makes me feel like there's a whole jazz and blues side that we don't discover enough about you, Tim.
Well, I am sitting on my piano bench for my keyboard, which is right. Maybe one of these days I'll put it right here in front of me and I'll play some stuff for you. I thought you were going to say, because when I look at myself, I look like one of these douchebags on the World Poker Tour. You know what I mean? And I'm like sitting at the table and I'm like just sitting there all still and I'm looking left and looking right. That's
now, see, I don't take you as a douchebag. I take you as maybe the fifth member of the NWO that didn't quite make the cut in those promo videos. Like Hogan just never let you get a lick in. Like he was milking it and milking it. Scott Hall comes in for one. Kevin Nash gets one. You're just on the sidelines going like, hey guys, can I double dutch in? Come on. I got a good line too.
A lot of people don't know this, Raph. I actually redshirted for NWA for two years. I just redshirted with those guys, and then I just moved on.
Here's what I'm going to say to you, Tim. What advice do you have for Craig? I'm going to put some time back on, put on your other glasses, give some advice to Craig on what he can do better right now.
Craig, I thought you were going to go away. Like, I don't think you want to go away. I think you should just stay home in the jiu-jitsu community, embrace the love, don't take the burden of the entire jiu-jitsu community on your back. You don't have to do that. You could just be lovable Craig. Just be Craig. Crack on Gordon from the side, man. Like you could do that all day for the rest of your life. Litigation wise though, man, I don't know. Find a way to settle. Get a little bit of change. Like, suing him's going to be rough. That's my advice for Craig. And you know what? Let me think about it a little bit more, though. Because Craig might be able to leverage this into something bigger, like actually turn himself into more of a star on some level, if that's possible. Get a reality show on VH1. I'm aging myself so bad.
Hold on. I'm about to be real. I didn't know VH1 still exists. To be
I don't think
honest.
It does. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, pretty sure they gone, Tim.
If anything, this week I had to tell my wife, I was like, by the way, she loves Catfish, the show. And I go, Catfish got canceled. And she goes, I was ready for it. And I go, I think you had to be. They haven't had a new episode in 2 years. But she said, it's okay. I just watch different episodes. I don't know when they air. And I go, oh, she doesn't even care. Like, they can definitely do something in the future where she'd be like, a brand new episode. It's literally one from 10 years ago. They just replay.
Remix.
So there is that. Winter Stick 83 says, Timmy. So I guess you're getting some love in the chat.
Yeah, that's an OG, buddy. What up, Mike? Back on the East Coast.
I'll give some unsolicited advice here. Hey, Craig.
Yes.
Long time, first time. I think what upsets me here is that I have to find out you had a partnership with these people. Now, I don't mind it when you're like, it's glasses and a cocaine spoon. Like, I'm not going to buy it, so it doesn't bug me. But now that we're in a space where you're saying, hey guys, just so you know, I'm not with these people anymore, I kind of don't care. I'm just curious if we have to do this. This is my new thing going forward. Do we have to do this? Meaning, do we have to be mad at them? Because I don't really feel like getting mad at them because I don't buy sunglasses. I buy real glasses. Sunglasses, not in the budget. So I really don't care. And can tell you, if I'm barely paying for these to functionally see, do you really think I'm going to be that lazy that I go, well, if only this could just spoon it a little bit of cocaine for me. Suddenly, I now understand how Craig Jones Invitational is always poor. $3 million. Then don't have the budget for us. Anyway, we're going to move on. So why don't we go to our next topic right now, which is a very nice adjustment from that topic, Tim. This one getting more into the realm of a foe of Craig Jones. It looks like Gable Steveson is going to put a pause on his MMA membership and now finds himself in the weird world of bare knuckle boxing. It begs many questions, but the biggest one being, what? Tim, for more, what can you tell us about Gable Steveson taking this weird off-ramp as part of his MMA journey?
It's odd. It's an odd move. But I think he was thinking about trying to do this right around the time of CJI. That was one of the rumors that cropped up, is that he wanted to take this dirty boxing match like a couple weeks before CJI. And obviously, if you're Craig, it's like, are you out of your mind? You can't do dirty boxing. Like, if you want to go do Naga, you can go do Naga 2 weeks before you do CJI. If you go do bare knuckle boxing, you're going to get busted up bad. So apparently he's got this desire to do bare knuckle boxing. More power to him. It's just odd because a lot of times you'll see someone go, especially if they're trying to on ramp into MMA, which Gable's already had an MMA fight. They will try to avoid bare knuckle boxing. They're like, I'll get you on the way down. I'll catch you on the way back down later. Now, if you don't have any kind of star power or weight to your name, then you might have to do a couple of seasons in bare knuckle boxing. You might have to take the Greyhound bus. That's kind of how it works. You don't always get to fly. But Gable can be on a jet right now. I don't know why he's doing dirty boxing, but I'm super pleased because it's going to happen in Nashville on October 30th. So I am really hoping to get that. If my facts are right, I'm pretty sure that's a Saturday night. So stoked. That might be a Friday night. So I'm stoked to check that out, though.
By the way, I love that you can tell we're at a place now where the scoops that we get are, I have it on good authority. October 30th falls on it's a Thursday. Okay.
Yeah,
my sources were wrong. I'm going to have to talk to my super secret source known as my calendar. So
you GSP'd it, man.
Of course, I always GSP everything. Gable, listen, we just talked to you about a week ago of not getting into mess with Craig Jones. And you could see that he's already moved on. Craig hasn't shed a tear about you since he's thought about you on the end of Craig Jones Invitational week. And now you want to go to the world of bare knuckle boxing. I just want you to pick a lane for success. Just pick one. The difficulty to me is I saw him in the world of professional wrestling, and because he could do a flip and he made that his showcase thing, I thought, okay, that's a no-brainer. I think it could work. And then I saw him on the mic and it was like, no, he needs work. And then I realized if you humble yourself and just put yourself there and you're already that athletic, you could do it. And then it just seemed like he wasn't interested in that world, which happens. People fall out of love of doing something like that. It's a unique thing into itself. And you have to learn how to sell other people's moves, which isn't necessarily fun when you've spent an entire lifetime pretending that things don't hurt you in the world of wrestling. So I could totally understand that. Then there's football. Then there's going to be a jiu-jitsu thing. Then there's MMA. And I think you have part of the MMA pie with wrestling. And we saw you win against a dude that, if we're being honest, I was surprised that was your opponent. And then I was not surprised that you beat that guy. No disrespect intended. And then we hear you want to take a side quest of going to win Dirty Boxing. It begs the question, how good is that money compared to what would be the amateur status world of MMA? But just like, listen, dude, like, what's the purpose of this? Because yes, there is a high risk. Are they going to give you some jobber? No, they're giving you the very different next of kin for Roy Nelson here. Who's just got a very different wig that he's wearing at this moment.
That is a heavy Theo Vaughn.
As Brian points out, yeah. Theo Vaughn, when they pump him full of air like they do in the cartoons. Brian says, Gable has quit WWE, CJI, and MMA so far. He hasn't quit MMA. He's just taken a side trek. But I beg of you, as somebody who is a multitasker, pick one, stick to it for a little while, and see what good comes of it. That's it. Just pick one, because you taking this time off. John Jones had to say, oh, I'm going to coach him now that he's an MMA guy. Do you think that John Jones is going to take credit for his dirty boxing style? I don't think he will. Could be wrong. Maybe he's all in on it. I just think that these guys like to leverage themselves as coaches to people who are very good at something so that they can take the credit for winning. And John Jones doesn't really seem like a person who likes to lose. So I don't know that he is banking on you possibly losing at something that's a little more of a uncertain return. Who knows? Could be great. Probably won't be. Nonetheless, that is about the time I wanted to afford us to talking about the bare knuckle boxing side quest of the ever-changing Gable Steveson. But here's some good news. It does look like Leandro Lowe's killer has finally been relieved of duty. The police officer that was very controversially still a part of his force has now been taken off, which begs the question, what? He was still on the force this entire time? It's been a couple years. Tim, what are your thoughts on the situation, and why do you think it took so long for them to, what should be an open and shut case, come to this conclusion?
Yeah, that's a great question. If I had to bet, I would say it's probably very complicated because the accused is an officer in the police in Brazil. So I imagine there's lots of different factions at play and things going on, but the case seems pretty clear cut. Like the guy killed him. He shot him. And if I believe right, he shot Leandro in the back. If that is correct, if I remember the details correctly, there's witnesses. There's not a lot, for him to fall back on defensively. So yeah, I'm shocked he was still in his job. Now, I don't know exactly what his job was. Like, was he out on the streets? Because, I have no idea how it works there, but I'm shocked that he was still out there. Thank God he's off the streets. The criminal case against him still going. It's still ongoing. And recently the update is that they had a court date and it kind of broke down into chaos with the defense getting upset at the prosecutors over a slight, thought he was being disrespectful, and the defense was threatening to quit. It was like massively insane. So I just hope that this guy sees his justice for Leandro's family and the people that loved him. Obviously, he touched a lot of people. It was a pretty massive thing when that happened, and it still is a massive thing. So yeah, fuck that dude. Put him away.
I could see the possibility of due process. It needs some time. I just always imagine when you shoot somebody, maybe not as many questions to ask. You know, like, yeah. I think we got to the point where you go, well, did he do it? Yeah. Oh, well, there's going to be some paperwork. We're going to need to figure that. So did he shoot him? Yes. Okay, good. Good to know. Thank you. Terrible situation. But are you sure? Like, I feel like that's what the process would be for 2 years. And I think the larger implications are, does he have tenure? And then how does that work in that world? Is it such a difficult thing to get around? And you would think that if you murder somebody in cold blood like that with their back turned against them, there are witnesses, there are people that have been doing this for a long period of time. Usually it's a matter of figuring out what the equal part of justice is. Like, what is going to be the actual result, the end court result that you get from this. Not necessarily from the police side. Why is this dude still on staff? Like, that's the part that's confusing, because so many people have jobs where if they screwed up, they would be put on a temporary leave. Now, if you have something in certain unions or certain organizations, they might keep you on staff and say pending until further review. So maybe they withheld pay or something to that effect for this guy. But I felt like I've seen this headline for the past 2 years and it has been aggravating. And so now to finally see it's dismissed, it is a good step, undoubtedly, but it is one that I don't even feel a sense of catharsis because of how long it's taken. So that part has been difficult to watch from the sidelines, but nonetheless, it is at least somewhat encouraging to see that he has been dismissed for really robbing the life of one of our most prominent stars in the sport.
Yeah.
So why don't we move on to this? 0. For this one, it is particular that we do talk about the aspect that, yes, Nicky Ryan recently has taken over as one of the head coaches for Simple Man Martial Arts. And for those of us who know, he has been a standout jiu-jitsu practitioner, but he claims that for his services for the Craig Jones Invitational, he received $0 while the rest of the team took home $1 million prize. Tim, were you surprised by this, or did you come to expect that maybe this coach wasn't going to take a slice of that pie?
A little bit surprised. I kind of thought what would happen is if B team won, that those athletes would cut Nicky Ryan in, but it's and I imagine they would if that's what he wanted. I don't think it's a case of Joseph Chin being like, I'm not giving my cut up. I don't think it's like that, you know. Nah, dog, I need that. I think this is a case of Nicky not receiving money in protest. He really wasn't happy with how the whole thing unfolded. Originally, there was an offer on the table for him to compete, and they offered him a percentage. And, you know, he's had a lot of health issues, and it just wasn't going to work out. So Chen kind of stepped in his place. So he wasn't going to get paid as an athlete, but I think there was a general assumption that he would get paid as a coach. On some level, even if you just break him off, like, look, man, the team got $1 million. You can't break him off $10K. Like, you could break something off for him, get him a watch or take him to a steak dinner, do something nice for the guy. But apparently he's kind of irritated at the way it wrapped up. He's insinuating that like the judging was a little like not above board, and that the seating of the brackets, there was some like perhaps some bias or some shadiness, or something going on there that didn't smell right to him. So I guess he doesn't want any money for it. I mean, more power to him. I think that's one way to protest. It's kind of tricky with Craig because, you know, if you are hypocritical with him, he will call it out pretty quick. So you got to play it pretty square when you deal with him, I think.
I applaud it. It's a big move. And when you normally start bringing up finances, people get a little weird. And we don't know the details of why the Ryan brothers are not speaking right now. But at one point, somebody postulated a theory between something cracking down when their father unfortunately passed away. And there's no way to verify if that is true, not true. But I can tell you that a lot of families do have that happen when somebody is lost in that family, where people do turn that way. So even without knowing full well what is happening with them, it's always a possibility. So when you see friendships sometimes break down because of money, it is a very, very big thing for Nikki to say, it's fine. You don't have to give me any money. I just assumed that on the New Wave side, had they had made the $1 million or been given the $1 million, I think what they do is, instead of claiming percentages, I just assume they give it to Danaher and he distributes it as he wishes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And that the rest of those dum-dums are too stupid to figure out money. So that Danaher is just like, the 45 for you and 55 for me. There is 82 for you and 200 for me. And they're like, wait, how are you dividing this? And he's like, I'm going to put up a Instagram post about this later that you can figure out all the deductions possible. And it will show my work. And they're like, oh God, I don't want to read all that. Just take the money and let me know what I'm making. So I feel like that's probably what happened here. But I could say this. If I was coaching and the prize was $1 million, 10%. I think. I don't think it's out of the realm of relevancy, especially if I've really stepped up and taken away from my time to become that coach.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some slight pushback there. But the funny thing about percentages is it can equal 100. So even with 10%, you could still split 5 ways, 90% in a very healthy way.
Oh, yeah.
And what about Damien? What about him? Does that man not deserve some money, especially for not even being referred to as a co-head coach? He was just a guy that was there. They were like, Nikki, you get a walkout, and Damien, just walk up the stairs. We don't really want to talk to you.
Yeah. He's the guy with the accent. You need one guy with an accent on the team to make it feel official. Look, Nikki Ryan actually really, and most of these coaches miss the opportunity here. If the coach gets to pick the squad, then I'm selling these spots. I'm saying, look, you want to be on this team? Then if we win, I get 25% of your purse. And if you're not good with that, no problem. I can find somebody else who is. It's like a Senate seat. You got to auction that baby off to the highest bidder, man. You can't be messy. You can't be trying to collect out. I've taken no money. Well, that's on you, Mean Gene. You know what I mean? How you going to get those zinnies?
Well, speaking of which, welcome back to the Bullpen presented by Chevron. Which we have no problem doing. You know what? I would 100% wear a fucking Chevron fucking shirt right now if they're paying for this
real,
shit.
dude.
We were told that we were being played at gas stations. And
that's right.
all I could ever think of was, it was like, must be nice. We should probably get money from that. But for now, we'll take what we can take. Having said that, I think it's time for us to move on. Nikki, good on you, man. It's a pretty commendable thing. And it's hard to do, especially when you do get the $1 million prize. All right, just this week, we've seen Tom DeBlas put up a suggestion to different gyms on how it is they can solve the flag issue. What is the flag issue? Well, there have been some disagreements on what kind of flags should be waved or put up in a specific gym or two, with even Stephen Kessling suggesting that maybe you put up a rainbow flag or a trans flag to let people know that you support that cause. As a result of that, I think Tom DeBlas recently put up a post where he said, how about flying no flags? Tim, as a gym owner, what say you to all of these viewpoints?
Oh, man. You know what? You got to be careful with everything you do as a gym owner, because it's super easy to offend a student. And then the challenge becomes, if you try not to offend one person, you end up offending everybody eventually. So yeah, flags, whatever. You know, like I had the first academy that I opened in Stockton, you know, we had an American flag and we had a Brazilian flag and a Japanese flag. But, you know, I don't know, man. Some people like flags. That's cool. Put your flag up. Some people don't. I just think Kessling is like one of those guys who's always talking about stuff. I feel like he's just trying to get you to like buy his new tutorial or whatever he's hawking these days. Like, I don't know, man. And I don't really know where DeBlas is coming from on it. I personally would come from it, you know, if I was like, hey, if flags are a real issue and I was like, no flags, I would just be like, dude, I just don't want to deal with anything. If you put up a flag, it has to be jiu-jitsu related. It's the gym.
We've come so far from we all are one. What would you do? Be like, well, I didn't bring one flag. I brought one for everybody. And everybody seemed to rally around that for a little while. But then it's hard to get into this topic because people feel like they should be able to express themselves. If you're a gym owner, do what you want. But do understand some people might feel uncomfortable about it. Can I just say one thing on the flag situation? I actually don't mind if you put up flags. And here's why. It tells me what kind of crazy I'm getting into. If you walk into a gym and you see a certain kind of flag, you know, oh, okay, they uphold these values. I'm a guest here, is what it is. Or in certain situations, you see a certain flag and you go, you know what? It's been fun. I think I gotta go. In more extreme versions, but they do exist. I would tell you this. I think that Kessling was making mention of this because there are so many people who don't support gay and transgender individuals in our sport, and there is some animosity to them, and some of it is perceived, but there is definitely a lot of folks who would much rather not have to deal with gay or transgender individuals. At least with the flag, you get a sense that, hey, they either support this or they don't. And I think that's where Tom DeBlas was trying to come up with the solution, which is, hey, everybody, can't we all get along? Let's just put this up here. But inherently, everybody is political, whether they espouse it or not. At least with the flag, you get a sense of a quicker introduction without having to be surprised. Oh, this person's kind of racist. Uh-oh. How do I feel about that? And as much as we want to say that everybody should get along and just kumbaya, that's just not the way the world works. You can bring up a certain sort of affiliation with sometimes one country or another, or you can bring up affiliations that people don't feel comfortable with. It's a very tricky subject, and we do like to be welcoming to as many people as possible, but I also think it's important when you're shopping for new businesses that you kind of know what you're getting into up front. So as much as I would love to say, hey, that actually sounds great, no flags at all, the minute somebody feels misled or misconstrued, I argue it actually might be worse on the exit. And it says, this sounds like an issue TDB would need a take on. Tim, who is TDB?
Tom DeBlas, baby.
Yes. Very, very
I'm
important. I didn't know we were going by his initials here.
Yeah. It's look, and then his followers are called DeBlas holes.
No.
I named him that. I coined that name several years ago. Tom DeBlas takes on the best topics. It's always like the topic that doesn't need a take. Tom DeBlas is like, I got to take on that. I think, though, I'm just going to say this in Tom's benefit. I think there's a very caring, loving part of Tom DeBlas, for sure. I do think that in the end, he wants to do good. He wants to do the right thing. But, you know, it's just 80% of the time he's distracted taking up issues like this. That was all. I just don't want to have a run-in with him, man. He's from the mean streets.
He is. And don't forget that. I mean, he's definitely a well-reformed and adjusted version of himself now, as people do get as they get older. But, like, I don't know that I wanted to run into, like, 18-year-old still figuring it out Tom DeBlas. Because I think that dude might have had some beef. I think there might have been something there. Who knows? Maybe we would have been friends. But I can tell you this. When you bring up all these different flags and whatnot, it is very funny when you see something like Superman. And if you've seen the new version of Superman, there's a kid who puts up like a giant Superman flag. And people are like, what does that mean? And it's like, dude, it just means Superman. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think they're making an allegory to certain world issues. But the fuck you gonna say about a Superman flag? You have bad opinions. You're like, you need to put up a Lex Luthor or a Doomsday or a Dark Side flag to be equal opportunity. It's like, dude, that's the whole point of that, is to give you opportunities to see things in a different light. So to me, if you got a flag, at least you put it up. And then that way, if I walk in, the only flag I really want to see, if I'm being honest, is the Taco Bell Baja Blast flag. If I see that, I'm going to join that gym right then, right there. So
a Mountain Dew flag.
Live Moss, people. Live Moss is the moral of the story on that one. This one's a little weird to me. Let's move on to our next topic, which is ADCC apparently has a petition, as if that's going to change anything. But this petition, to the best of our knowledge, is likely to get another category for the women's side. The men famously have 5 weight classes. Women now have 3. And they have in the past had absolutes for the women. Sometimes they don't have an absolute for the women because reasons. So, Tim, what can you tell us about this new petition and why there is a little bit of resistance to it?
Well, it's interesting. There's resistance on a couple different fronts. I understand the sentiment that these ladies have. I do get that. And I've read through the petition that's out online for this. And, you know, the basic bend here is that the women don't have the same amount of qualifying opportunities as the men to get into ADCC. And the argument that's laid down is that if you give the women a platform and you promote them and you build them up, then it will generate more interest. That you have to generate the interest. And I think that there is merit to that. I do believe that. But I also think there's merit on the other side that goes, well, there's not enough demand for it from a higher quantity of competitors for us to justify it. Now, whether they've fully looked at the numbers or they're just knee-jerk reacting saying that, I don't know. But that is valid in one way. These are private businesses. And the argument that it has to be exactly equal for the men and the women is not necessarily a valid argument. This is a private sport. You don't have this in any other sports. And there's some sports that are dominated mostly by women and don't really have the same type of representation from men. Hey man, I don't make the rules on what people want to do and what they don't want to do. It's just how it is. So, I think there's that resistance a little bit, but if ADCC could do it, I think ADCC should do it if they could. The women are freaking great, man. They put on great matches. I'm all for women's jiu-jitsu. I have a woman who runs one of my gyms. I support women before you send me hate mail. The interesting thing is Jasmine Rocha came out and said, yo, I don't know about the authenticity of this petition because this person is soliciting people, and I don't know who the person is. I looked for their name. I didn't see it. They do describe their situation. Jasmine's criticism was that this person's reaching out to several prominent athletes in jiu-jitsu, wanting to get them to sign the petition and get on board, generate interest, bring more eyeballs to it. But this person has never, and these are Jasmine's words, not mine, has never befriended any of these athletes or supported any of these other people previous to this. And Jasmine's point was, you have to give support to get support. We're supposed to be supporting each other, not just going, yo, I got this thing and I want you all to get behind me. Now, I think it would be beneficial for everyone. But one of the complaints in the petition is the athlete says, I won the European trials, but it wasn't enough. I had to win another one. But if I was a male, the way that's structured, I would have been in. And so, I get that. And I think that's the competitiveness of a competitor talking right there. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's a hard one. In general, look, I own 2 gyms. I've been training jiu-jitsu for 20 years. There's just more interest from 18 to 35-year-old dudes than there is from women. And I have a free women's jiu-jitsu class. We put on free workshops. We let them come train for free. We want them to come train. We have a woman teach the class and we push it, we promote it. But just in general, there's not as many women that want to grapple. Grappling's grimy and disgusting and gross. And we're doing things like putting our hands in each other's mouths. And it's a bunch of meatheads, man. I get it. I wouldn't do it if I was a woman. I would be, hell no. That's my rant.
Thank you. Well, far be it for Jasmine Rocha to have a controversial take. I wouldn't expect that from her. Let me say this. I don't think you're going to get shit done unless you do this. Do you imagine that anybody's going to see the need to do anything extra unless you apply pressure? So one of the things that people like to say is this is a private business. Yes, it is their choice to do, as it is individuals or consumers' right to be able to say, hey, we'd like to see another category. Maybe in the form of equality, sure, but also in the sake of price per pound, women probably are more exciting than the guys. The only difference is everybody knows that guys are the main demo. So the nice part here is we get to always fall back on saying if women want more support, women have to show up. But do they have a reason to show up? Unclear. Will they show up with more opportunities? Possibly. Hard to say. But I think the larger point here is you can't tell somebody to quell their interest or want of something because it's inconvenient. So saying, oh, I don't know if this person's intentions are true, that's kind of irrelevant, honestly. The more important aspect here is if people, consumers, the individuals want to see more women, they should be able to put pressure on that private business. And private businesses can make their own decisions, but you're going to have to deal with that. And if you give them what they want, they may have certain expectations. They may say you can't just be a one and done. You've got to try it out and see what's going to happen. That is the audience telling you what to do. So you really have 2 options here if you're ADCC. You have to just basically take it on the chin and just continue doing status quo as you always do. But as you noticed, ADCC was slow to start paying their athletes. So they don't really want to change. And they'll always tell you why it's so hard to change. And putting on events is difficult, but they don't have an incentive to change unless the audience directly tells them what they want. And it sounds like right now there is a growing female audience that's a little bit discontent with their part in the sport, who are making their claim and making their arguments. So before you get into the chat and into those comment sections, consider that they are voicing their opinion in the same way to let you know they're not going to stop until they see some change. And that's within their right to do. The question is, does that private entity known as ADCC want to continue hearing about it in the chat? And if they do, so be it. If they don't, maybe try something new. All right, Tim, I think it's time to go to our low light of the week. You put together another fight for us. You told me this one's a little bit longer, but that it's worth it. So I ask of you, why is this one worth it, sir?
It's worth it because there's hints of jujitsu in this, and it doesn't move as fast as a regular fight, but it moves like they decided to have like a 3-minute round. And it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. It was so odd when I watched it. But it's pretty good. We don't have the vocals, which would be even better if we had the audio, but
Hold on. When you say vocals, this is what the new Mariah Carey album, it's not giving me vocals right now. Like, Tim,
I need more bass in my headphones. Turn it up.
It's just, when you say there's no sound, just say there's no sound. It's like no vocals. Means, how dare you take the Whitney Houston stems out of this? Now it's just
I can't help
beats.
it, man. This is just beats, but I'm going to provide, this is karaoke. I'm going to try to provide some talk through of it. And I'm going to tag along and watch the video locally, because it gets a little grainy when I watch it on the stream. So
fair enough. Understood. All right, sir. Well, I'm going to put it up for the both of us here. Okay. And why don't we try to synchronize this, because I'm going to start it in 3, 2. Hold on. I thought I had it. Maybe I don't. Let me see if I put this on the right one here. 3, 2, 1. Oh, maybe it's not in front of it. 1 second. Let's try to move this up. Let's see if that did it. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put it over and 3. Oh, shit. It is not working like that, Tim. All right. Let me do some recon here.
Yeah, for sure. There we go. All right. So security guy put a boot on this other dude's car, and then he gave him the suck me sign. He's holding his phone or a flashlight in one hand and the phone in the other. And then he gets pushed, and now he throws a nice little leg kick. It's a good leg kick. And then he takes a left, and now he's using some open guard, but it's not that good. And he's getting some ground and open hand. This is combat jujitsu. And now he runs. He gets pushed back down. And now dude on top hits a nice stack pass. And he's like, take that boot off my car. I can fight from my knees. Dude in the black falls again, but he's using a pretty good open guard. His technical stand-up sucks, though. He's not getting his bottom leg back far enough, and he keeps falling. This is exactly what I tell my students. Don't stand up like that. That's how I'm. Now, he hasn't had enough, right? So they're jaw-jacking again, and he's telling the dude on the left seems like the attacker, but if you heard the audio, the guy on the right really has it. And now he's going to jump kick his car. And brother did not like the cameraman's actually narrating. And I believe he's going back to the car here. And he zooms in on the dent. And then he tells the guy, my car's dented. He's like, you've been in my car? And he's like, I'm going to dent your face. And the guy on bottom screaming, call 911, call 911. I'm sorry. I just went straight into narrating because it was so great, dude. And then they just kind of talk it out. I don't think there's any more strikes at this point. I think it's about to wrap up.
You know what it is? It's the I give up. How you doing? Oh man. Okay. Are we still fighting? No? Okay. Just gonna lie here real quick. I took a lot of hits to the head. All right, let me walk you through mine, but before I do, Egg brings up a good point. Security guy doesn't have a real flashlight? That's standard issue for security guys. Well, let me just say this, Egg. If you thought this was going to be an ordinary fight with ordinary people, perhaps we should remind you, people don't make it onto this show because of their adherence to rules and decorum.
Right.
Having said that, let's try to walk through this fight, and I'll give you my interpretation here, Tim. All right, first things first. I love that this dude starts off by letting him know, hey, you like this? That's a dick, dude. Like, I don't know why people, when they're about to get into a fight, think the most aggressive thing you can do is, like, pointing to a crotch and, like, telling the dude, like, that's what I think of you. Because I feel like that's not the signal you want to send. So we see him with the flashlight here and the posturing up. This is where I really want to bring to your attention, Tim. It's right after that, I got a dick. It's now, hey, First Amendment, bro. I'm going to film this. Okay. But now
sovereign citizen.
It's the little bunny hop back while forward. Impressive. He's holding up a good posture here. And now he's letting him know, I will turn this flashlight on. Like, he's literally a light bright all of a sudden. And now he gets shoved in the face. Now, before I go any further on this, what do you expect when you have your hands both down and the dude shoves you in the face? How did you not expect that? You have a phone and a flashlight. And if you're not using the flashlight as a weapon, what do you think's going to happen? So this dude gets a whole handful of face very shortly. Gets pushed. And now it is on, Tim, because once you initiate the action, he comes in, he ducks that first one. Nobody talks about the green light. Tim, what is that green light? Is that his walkie-talkie? Wouldn't you think this is the time you want to initiate saying, I need backup?
Dude, I don't know what.
All right, the kick goes well, but let's just say this for future knowledge. If you're doing a kick, have some support in your stabilizing leg, because when this dude goes to put his leg back, yikes, falling down. Now, this gets into some of the best combat jiu-jitsu matches we've seen in some time. And he's not doing a good job of covering up, but what he lacks in that is the almost getting away. Now, the chop blocks here by the dude up top are top tier. Now, he lets off a little bit of pressure here, but basically comes in with the mom didn't like your report card slaps.
Oh, that was nice.
Now, this dude's really fallen back on a guard that is better than you would expect. It just doesn't get to a good point. He looks for a technical stand-up, but thought he probably would have gotten kicked himself. So he's actually playing it pretty safe. Now, Tim, what do you think he showed him here? Because he actually shows the phone instead of doing a full technical stand-up. So do you think when he turns this phone around, do you think he's like, hey, man, do you like this shot? I got one of you doing this.
He was saying, you're done, bro. You're done.
Ugh,
and then the dude was going, no, I'm not.
The dumb part is here, he got up like a drunk housewife. Can't quite fully commit. Now gets up and says, we're not done here, sir. This is the part I want to use as a cautionary tale to everybody before I move any further. If you adjust the belt,
yes,
you are saying, I want this to go on longer than it probably needs to. Do it at your own risk. Because what he does after this, Tim, is he gets up, he adjusts the belt like Chris Farley telling you he lives in a van down by the river. And you think, oh shit, we're going to kick it up a level. All right. He gets into a terrible stance. This is really where it's coming down to. Now, Tim, this is my favorite part. This is 100% what makes this video gold. He goes into what I like to call your drunk friend who runs away and acts like a little kid. Because he goes, yeah, watch this. Yeah. And then realizes, oh shit, he's racing after me again. The glee that he does in this. He realizes maybe I can't beat you, but you know what I can do? Put a dent in your fucking car. 1, 2, 3, and dent. Hiya. Oh shit. Goes back down and immediately to passing guard. Not bad Toriano here, if I'm being honest, but this time he's actually recovered his guard much better than he does in the past. Now, I don't know if you know this, but these are like 2 of my students. By the way, is A+ camera work. Literally, Martin Scorsese right now tips his hat off to you, sir. This is like when my students are supposed to be drilling, but instead just like talk to each other. This is why I'm so mad here. And yeah, this is pretty much how it ends. It's like a little bit of a discussion, letting him know what he's going to do for the rest of the week. It's the nodding off of his back and the pointing out to, yeah, you got this. The little kicks here are similar to what your dog does when he doesn't want to fuck with you anymore. And he's just like, nah, man, get away from me. I don't like you anymore. And he entices him to come into his guard, bro. And that is the end of that video. A lot that we can learn, but Egg brings up some points here, Tim. Security guy trains or trained Krav Maga. He went for the groin kick and did Krav Maga ground defense. Not well.
That's actually not what happened. The security guy trained playing what was that video game? Is it Bad Dudes where you smash up the car? No, it's Double Dragon, where at the end of the round he thought it was the end of the round. He's like, now I got to go beat the shit out of this car so I can get bonus points. The offensive kick to the car was the best move he made for the whole fight. That kick was the best kick it was the best offensive technique of the fight. But it was just against a car. And he dented the door. It's
the running jump to the car, which, by the way, is like, I can't beat you, but I know someone who can. Me kicking your car, dude.
And what if I don't know, it looked like a Cadillac. What if you're Cadillac and then that's out there? You're like, our car door sucks so bad. It's made of such flimsy flat fiberglass that this 145-pound security guy could do a jump kick and put a dent into it. Dude, if you dent another man's car, you're going to get an ass whooping. You got it coming.
What do you think that fight was about? Because to me, it felt like the car was trying to leave without paying its fee, and I can't tell if that is exactly what the dispute is.
I think what it was is they put it from the audio, it sounded like they put a device on his car. Like they booted one of maybe the tires you can't see, or they did something, or they were gonna do something because he kept saying, take it off. You better take it off. You better take that off my car.
Oh, okay. That kind of command with a dude who got really up in his face.
Maybe he was the valet guy. Maybe he wasn't even the security guy.
Yeah.
Brother, listen, valet guy, let him take the car. Who cares, dog?
It's not worth the tip, bro. And you don't make enough to get into a fight like that. Well, Tim, I think we have made it all the way to the end of the show. I'm going to go ahead and let you close things up on your side. Tell the people where they can follow you, sir.
Yo, what up? You can catch me at Inside BJJ. Also, if you're kicking around tomorrow, check out Subculture. We got the 10P Nashville team doing the team duel there, sub only, PGF rules. Well, anyway, I'll just leave it at that. Check it out. Starts at 10 o'clock. If you're out in Nashville, come see me at 10th Planet Nashville. And if you listen to the this is a pet peeve of mine, man. People come in who listen to the podcast or they watch this show and they don't say that when they're there. They just come in like, oh yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania or wherever the hell I'm from, and I pulled in, and they don't say it the whole time, and then at the very end they'll mention it, and it's like, dude, what's wrong with you, man? just say what's up. If you're out in Stockton, go see my homies at 10th Planet Stockton. RAF, I love you, man. Great show. Support the Grappling Hour. This has become my new favorite shirt. I love black shirts, especially black t-shirts. I wear them so much that they end up fading. So this is my new shiny one. Thank you so much, sir.
Appreciate you, sir. And thank you for wearing it. Tim, it was another blast of an episode. I appreciate you. And I will go ahead and close this on up. But my thanks to all of you tuning in today on this very special episode of The Bullpen. We learned a lot. We learned maybe put a flag in or don't. We learned cocaine from your glasses as a spoon can be a sore spot when you have a bad break with your friends. And we also learned if you don't make enough money parking cars or working as an attendant in a little parking facility, don't get into a fight. But if you do get into a fight, jump, kick the fucking door. So a lot of lessons here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure, like, comment, subscribe wherever you're watching. If you're watching on Inside BJJ, give us some love at the Grappling Hour. If you're watching on the Grappling Hour, give some love to Tim and his team over at Inside BJJ. It does mean a lot. It doesn't take a lot for you to do. Literally like and comment and share. I don't even ask that one that often, but sharing does help. And yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming. If you want to get one of those great t-shirts, you can go to rapesparza.com/merch. You can also support my show at patreon.com/grappling hour. $5 a month. You see 4 interviews every single month. And for a few extra dollars, you can see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including Roast Raf, where people roast my competition footage. You also see tape study with the athletes where they compete in either MMA or jiu-jitsu and tell me how they did it. And a segment called the Grappling Hour Challenge where people try to get a move on me in 2 minutes, but I get to roast them. So that is for a few extra dollars. And my friends, as a reminder, go get your merch. RAFESPARZA.com/merch. T-shirts, hoodies, tanks. That's where you can find it. Order you some for this holiday season. All right, guys. That's going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. Thank you so much for watching. And it's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.